The bedroom was dark and silent. Maurice Hodges lay perfectly still, pretending to sleep. His eyes were barely open, watching. At exactly 4:47 a.m., just like every morning for the past 3 months, his wife Jennifer slowly slid out of bed. She moved carefully, like someone walking on glass. Her phone glowed faintly as she picked it up from the nightstand. Maurice's heart pounded. Jennifer tiptoed toward the bathroom, closing the door with barely a sound. Through the thin walls, Maurice heard her voice, low and urgent. He couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. Secretive, intimate, guilty. After 15 minutes, she returned to bed, slipping under the covers as if nothing had happened. Maurice lay there in the darkness, his mind racing. Who was she calling? Why every single morning before dawn? What was his wife hiding? Before we continue with this story, I need your help. If you're enjoying this story so far, do me a quick favor. Kindly hit that subscribe button right now. Also, smash that like button. It takes 1 second, but it helps this video reach more people who love real, emotional stories like this one. And here's something I'm really curious about. Drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one. Now, let's get back to the story because what Maurice discovers next will absolutely blow your mind. Maurice Hodges, 38 years old, was a successful architect in Seattle. His firm had just won a major contract to design a new downtown complex. He should have been celebrating, but instead, he lay awake every morning, listening to his wife's secret phone calls. Jennifer, 35, worked as a pediatric nurse at Seattle Children's Hospital. They had been married for 12 years. 12 years of what Maurice thought was happiness, trust, and partnership. They had a beautiful home in Queen Anne, a golden retriever named Charlie, and until 3 months ago, Maurice would have sworn on his life that their marriage was solid. But something had changed. It started subtly. Jennifer became distant. She smiled less. She started waking up earlier, always with her phone in hand. At first, Maurice thought it was work stress. The hospital had been understaffed, and Jennifer often came home exhausted. But then he noticed the calls, always before dawn, always in secret, always in the bathroom with the door locked. "Who are you calling so early every morning?" Maurice had asked her 2 weeks ago over breakfast. Jennifer barely looked up from her coffee. "Oh, just checking my work schedule. They post the shifts late." But Maurice knew that was a lie. He had checked. Hospital schedules were posted 3 days in advance on the staff portal. There was no reason to call anyone at 4:47 a.m. about a work schedule. That morning, after Jennifer left for her shift, Maurice sat in his home office, staring at his computer screen. He couldn't focus on the blueprints in front of him. His mind kept returning to those early morning calls, the whispered conversations, the secrecy. His best friend Marcus stopped by during lunch. Marcus worked as a private investigator, specializing in corporate fraud cases. But he had helped plenty of friends with personal matters too. "You look terrible, man," Marcus said, dropping a bag of sandwiches on Maurice's desk. "What's going on?" Maurice hesitated. Saying it out loud would make it real, but he needed help. "I think Jennifer is having an affair." Marcus stopped mid-bite. "What? Jennifer? No way. You two are like the perfect couple." "She's been waking up before dawn every single morning for 3 months," Maurice said quietly. "She goes to the bathroom and makes a phone call. 15 minutes. Same time every day. 4:47 a.m. Marcus set down his sandwich. "Have you asked her about it?" "She lied to me. Said it was work-related." "Maybe it is. At 4:47 a.m.? Every single day?" Maurice shook his head. "Something's wrong, Marcus. I can feel it." Marcus leaned back in his chair thinking. "Do you want to know for sure?" "I need to know." "Then let me help you. We can track the number. See who she's calling." Maurice felt his stomach twist. This was crossing a line, invading his wife's privacy. But what choice did he have? "How?" he asked. "I'll need access to her phone records, or we can do it the simpler way. Next time she leaves her phone unattended, check her recent calls. Write down the number." Maurice nodded slowly. "Okay." That evening, Jennifer came home at 7 p.m. She looked exhausted, her scrubs wrinkled, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. "Rough day?" Maurice asked, trying to sound normal. "Long day," she replied, dropping her bag by the door. "Lost a patient this morning. 5-year-old boy, leukemia." Maurice's heart softened. "I'm sorry, Jen." She nodded, her eyes distant. "I'm going to take a shower." While Jennifer was in the bathroom, Maurice heard the water running. Her phone sat on the kitchen counter, charging. His hands trembled as he picked it up. No passcode. She had never felt the need to hide anything from him before. He opened her recent calls. His breath caught in his throat. The same number appeared every morning at 4:47 a.m. for the past 3 months. Sometimes the calls lasted 15 minutes, sometimes 20, always before dawn. Maurice quickly wrote down the number on a piece of paper and put the phone back exactly where he found it. Later that night, Marcus called him back. "Give me the number." Maurice read it out. "Give me 24 hours, Marcus said. "I'll find out who it belongs to." Maurice barely slept that night. He lay beside Jennifer, watching her sleep, wondering who she was calling. Wondering if the woman he loved, the woman he had built a life with, was betraying him. At 4:47 a.m., Jennifer stirred. Maurice closed his eyes, pretending to sleep. She slipped out of bed, grabbed her phone, and disappeared into the bathroom. Through the door, he heard her voice, soft, gentle, almost tender. "Hi," she whispered. "I know, I miss you too. Yes, every day. I promise, I won't let you down." Maurice's heart shattered. The next evening, Marcus showed up at Maurice's office with a folder. His expression was serious. "I found out who owns the number," Marcus said, sitting down. Maurice's hands were sweating. "Who?" Marcus opened the folder and pulled out a document. "The number is registered to Westlake Rehabilitation Center." Maurice blinked. "A rehab center?" "Yeah, it's about 30 miles outside Seattle. I did some digging. Your wife has been calling the same extension every morning for 3 months." "Why would she be calling a rehab center?" Marcus hesitated. "I don't know, man, but I found something else. Jennifer made a large bank withdrawal 3 months ago. $15,000. Maurice felt the room spin. $15,000? From your joint savings account. She never told me. I know. Marcus looked uncomfortable. "Look, Maurice, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but this doesn't look good. Secret calls, large withdrawals. Something's going on." Maurice stood up and paced his office. "I need to confront her. Or," Marcus suggested carefully, "you could visit the rehab center yourself, see what's really going on." Maurice stopped pacing. "You think I should go there? If she's hiding something, confronting her might just make her lie more. But if you show up at that place, you'll get the truth." Maurice thought about it. He had worked late the next evening anyway. Jennifer wouldn't expect him home until after 8 p.m. "I'll go tomorrow," he decided. That night, Maurice couldn't eat dinner. Jennifer noticed. "Are you feeling okay?" she asked, her hand on his forehead. "You look pale." "Just stressed about work," Maurice lied. "The downtown project is getting complicated." Jennifer kissed his cheek. "You work too hard. Maybe we should take a vacation. Get away for a weekend." Maurice looked at her. She seemed sincere, caring, the same Jennifer he had always known. But he also knew she was lying to him, hiding something, and that hurt more than anything. "Maybe," he said quietly. The next day dragged on forever. Maurice couldn't concentrate on anything. He kept checking his watch, waiting for 5 p.m. when he could leave his office and drive to Westlake Rehabilitation Center. Finally, the time came. He told his assistant he had an off-site meeting and drove north out of Seattle. The rehab center was located in a quiet, wooded area, a large, modern building with floor-to-ceiling windows. Maurice parked in the visitor lot and sat in his car for 10 minutes, gathering courage. What was he about to discover? Who was his wife talking to every morning? He walked into the reception area. A friendly woman in her 50s smiled at him from behind the desk. "Can I help you?" she asked. Maurice's throat was dry. "I'm looking for someone. My wife has been calling this facility every morning for 3 months. I need to know why." The receptionist's smile faded. "Sir, I can't give out patient information." Please, Maurice said. My name is Maurice Hodges. My wife is Jennifer Hodges. She's been calling here at 4:47 a.m. every single day. I just need to understand what's going on. The receptionist studied him carefully. Then she picked up her phone and made a quick call. Dr. Rahman will see you, she said. Please have a seat. Maurice sat in the waiting area, his leg bouncing nervously. 5 minutes later, a middle-aged woman in a white coat approached him. Mr. Hodges, she extended her hand. I'm Dr. Layla Rahman. I oversee patient care here at Westlake. Maurice stood. Thank you for seeing me. Follow me, please. Dr. Rahman led him down a quiet hallway to a small office. She closed the door and gestured for Maurice to sit. Your wife Jennifer has been calling us every morning, Dr. Rahman said gently. I can't share patient details without consent, but I can tell you this. She's been incredibly dedicated. She hasn't missed a single call in 3 months. Who is she calling? Maurice asked desperately. Please, I need to know. Dr. Rahman looked at him with kind eyes. Mr. Hodges, I think you should see for yourself. Follow me. She led him down another hallway, through a secure door, and into a bright, spacious common area. Patients sat in comfortable chairs, some reading, some watching television. And then Maurice saw her. Jennifer stood near the window, talking softly to a young woman in a wheelchair. The woman looked fragile, painfully thin, with hollow eyes and trembling hands. That's Emma Rodriguez, Dr. Rahman said quietly. She's been a patient here for 4 months. Severe eating disorder and depression. When she arrived, she wouldn't speak to anyone, wouldn't eat, wouldn't engage in any therapy. Maurice watched his wife gently hold the young woman's hand. Your wife started calling her every morning before work, Dr. Rahman continued. Emma told us she needed someone to check on her first thing in the morning, someone to remind her that she mattered, that she had a reason to live another day. Maurice felt his legs go weak. I don't understand. Emma was one of your wife's patients at Seattle Children's Hospital 3 years ago, Dr. Rahman explained. Jennifer saved her life when Emma was 13. They stayed in touch. When Emma relapsed into her eating disorder and attempted suicide 4 months ago, she called your wife. Jennifer promised she would call her every single morning at dawn. A daily reminder that someone cared. Maurice's eyes filled with tears. The money? Your wife paid for Emma's treatment here. $15,000. Emma's family couldn't afford it. Maurice couldn't speak. He watched Jennifer laugh at something Emma said, saw the way the young woman's face lit up. Your wife is remarkable, Dr. Rahman said. She saved Emma's life twice, once as a nurse and once as a friend who refused to give up on her. Maurice wiped his eyes. Why didn't she tell me? Perhaps you should ask her that yourself. Maurice stood frozen in the doorway watching his wife with Emma. His chest felt tight, a mixture of relief, shame, and overwhelming emotion washing over him. All those mornings he had lain awake in suspicion, imagining betrayal, when Jennifer had been doing something beautiful, something selfless. Dr. Rahman touched his arm gently. Would you like to speak with your wife? Maurice nodded, unable to find words. Dr. Rahman walked over to Jennifer and whispered something in her ear. Jennifer looked up, her eyes widening in shock when she saw Maurice standing there. She quickly said something to Emma, squeezed her hand, then walked toward her husband. Her expression was unreadable. Surprise, concern, maybe even fear. Maurice, she said, her voice uncertain. What are you doing here? Can we talk? He asked quietly. Somewhere private? Jennifer nodded. They walked back to Dr. Rahman's office. Once inside with the door closed, silence hung between them like a heavy curtain. Jennifer spoke first. How did you find this place? Maurice felt shame burn through him. I tracked the phone number you've been calling every morning. You track my calls? Jennifer's voice was soft, but there was hurt in it. I thought... Maurice stopped, unable to finish the sentence. You thought I was having an affair, Jennifer said, not as a question but as a statement. Yes. Jennifer sat down slowly, her shoulders sagging. For 3 months you thought I was cheating on you, and you didn't say anything. I asked you once. You lied to me. You said it was about work schedules. Because I couldn't tell you the truth, Jennifer said, her voice breaking. Not about this. Why not? Maurice sat across from her. Jen, you paid $15,000 from our savings. You've been waking up at dawn every single day. Why couldn't you tell me? Tears filled Jennifer's eyes. Because I was ashamed. Ashamed of helping someone? Ashamed of failing, Jennifer said. Maurice, Emma was my patient 3 years ago. She was 13 years old, suffering from anorexia. I worked with her for 6 months. We built a relationship. I thought she was better. I thought I had helped her heal. Maurice listened as Jennifer wiped her tears. 3 years later, she tried to kill herself, Jennifer continued. She called me from the hospital, barely able to speak. She said she had failed everyone. Her parents, her therapists, me. I couldn't sleep that night, Maurice. I kept thinking, if I had done more, if I had stayed in touch, maybe she wouldn't have relapsed. That's not your fault, Maurice said. But it felt like it, Jennifer said. When Emma got discharged from the hospital, she asked me if I could call her every morning. She said mornings were the hardest. That's when the dark thoughts came. She needed someone to remind her that she had a reason to wake up. Maurice felt his throat tighten. I promised her I would call every single morning, Jennifer said, no matter what. But I knew her family couldn't afford proper treatment. They were struggling to pay rent. So I used our savings to get her into this facility. You should have told me, Maurice said. I would have understood. I would have helped. Jennifer shook her head. You've been so stressed with the downtown project. Your firm is counting on you. I didn't want to burden you with my problems. Your problems? Maurice stood up. Jen, we're married. Your problems are my problems. Your burdens are my burdens. I know, Jennifer whispered, but I felt like I had to do this on my own, like it was my responsibility to fix what I thought I had broken. Maurice knelt in front of his wife and took her hands. You didn't break anything. You're saving a life. You're doing something incredible. But I spent 3 months thinking you were betraying me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't focus. I was destroying myself with suspicion. I'm sorry, Jennifer said, fresh tears falling. I'm so sorry. I should have trusted you enough to share this. And I should have trusted you enough to just ask directly, Maurice admitted. Instead, I tracked your phone calls like a paranoid husband. They sat in silence for a moment, both crying, both realizing how close they had come to destroying their marriage through secrets and assumptions. Can I meet her? Maurice asked finally. Can I meet Emma? Jennifer nodded, wiping her eyes. She'd like that. They walked back to the common area together, hand in hand. Emma was still sitting by the window, looking out at the trees. Jennifer approached her gently. Emma, there's someone I'd like you to meet. This is my husband, Maurice. Emma looked up, her eyes cautious. Hi. Hi, Emma, Maurice said softly. He pulled up a chair and sat down. My wife has told me a lot about you. She has? Emma's voice was barely above a whisper. She talks about you all the time, Maurice lied kindly. She says you're incredibly brave. Emma looked at Jennifer with surprise. I don't feel brave. Bravery isn't about not being scared, Maurice said. It's about fighting even when you're terrified. Jennifer told me you get up every morning and fight. That takes real courage. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Some mornings I don't want to get up. I know, Maurice said. That's why Jennifer calls you, to remind you that you're not alone. She saved my life, Emma whispered. Twice. Maurice looked at his wife. She's good at that. Over the next hour, Maurice sat with Jennifer and Emma. He learned about Emma's struggles, her loving but overwhelmed parents, her younger brother who didn't understand why his sister was so sad, her dreams of becoming an art teacher someday. I want to paint again, Emma said softly. I used to paint all the time before I got sick. Landscapes mostly, but I haven't picked up a brush in over a year. Why not? Maurice asked. Emma shrugged. I don't know. I guess I felt like I didn't deserve to do things I loved. Maurice glanced at Jennifer, then back at Emma. Would you like art supplies? I could bring some next time I visit. Emma looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. You'd do that? Of course, Maurice said. Everyone deserves to do things they love, Emma, especially when they're fighting as hard as you are. When visiting hours ended, Maurice and Jennifer said goodbye to Emma and walked to the parking lot together. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you," Jennifer said again. "I'm sorry I didn't trust you," Maurice replied. "These past 3 months I've been so focused on what I thought you were hiding that I forgot who you really are." "Who am I?" Jennifer asked with a small smile. "Someone who cares so deeply about people that she'll sacrifice sleep, money, and peace of mind to save them," Maurice said. "You're the reason I fell in love with you 12 years ago, and you're the reason I love you even more today." Jennifer leaned against his chest and he wrapped his arms around her. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we face this together," Maurice said. "I want to be part of Emma's journey. I want to support you both." "Really? Really? And Jen? No more secrets. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're feeling, you tell me. Deal?" "Deal," Jennifer agreed. "No more secrets." They drove home together, hands clasped across the center console. That night they talked for hours. Jennifer told him everything. About the guilt she had been carrying. About the mornings she cried after calling Emma because she didn't know if she was doing enough. About the fear that Emma might not make it. "She will make it," Maurice assured her, "because she has you fighting for her." The next morning, at 4:47 a.m., Jennifer's alarm went off. Maurice woke up with her. "What are you doing?" Jennifer asked as he sat up. "I'm going to be there for your call," Maurice said, "if that's okay with you." Jennifer smiled, tears in her eyes. "I'd like that." They went to the living room together. Jennifer dialed Emma's number and put the phone on speaker. "Hello?" Emma's voice came through, groggy but present. "Good morning, Emma," Jennifer said. "It's Jennifer. How are you feeling today?" "Tired," Emma admitted, "but I'm here." "That's all that matters," Jennifer said. "You're here, you're fighting, and I'm so proud of you." "Thanks for calling," Emma said softly. "It really helps." "Emma, my husband Maurice is here with me this morning," Jennifer added. "He wants to say hello." "Hi, Emma," Maurice said. "I just want you to know that I'm proud of you too, and I'm picking up those art supplies for you this weekend." There was a pause, then Emma's voice came through, stronger this time. "Thank you, both of you. I don't know what I'd do without Jennifer's calls." "You'll never have to find out," Jennifer promised. "I'll call you tomorrow morning, same time." "I'll be here," Emma said. After the call ended, Maurice pulled Jennifer close. "That was beautiful." "It's just a phone call," Jennifer said. "No," Maurice corrected. "It's hope. You're giving her hope every single morning." Over the next few weeks, Maurice kept his promise. He bought Emma professional art supplies, canvas, oil paints, brushes, and easel. He and Jennifer drove to Westlake together every Saturday to visit. Emma slowly began to improve. She started eating regular meals. She attended therapy sessions, and she started painting again. Her first piece was a sunrise, bright and hopeful. "It's for you," Emma said, presenting the canvas to Jennifer. "For all the mornings you called me." Jennifer cried as she accepted the painting. Maurice watched the transformation not just in Emma, but in his marriage. He and Jennifer grew closer than they had been in years. They talked more. They shared more. They supported each other through difficult days at work and celebrated small victories together. One evening, Emma's mother called Jennifer. Maurice watched his wife's face change as she listened. "What is it?" he asked when she hung up. "Emma's being discharged next week," Jennifer said, her voice shaking with emotion. "Dr. Rahman says she's made incredible progress. She's ready to go home." "That's amazing," Maurice said, hugging her. "Her mother wants us to be there for her discharge day," Jennifer added. "She says Emma talks about us all the time. She wants to thank us in person." The following Saturday, Maurice and Jennifer arrived at Westlake for Emma's discharge. Emma stood in the lobby with her parents and younger brother, holding a small suitcase. She looked different, healthier. Her eyes were brighter. Her smile was real. "Jennifer, Maurice!" Emma rushed forward and hugged them both. "I can't believe I'm finally going home." "We're so proud of you," Jennifer said, holding her tight. Emma's mother approached with tears in her eyes. Thank you. Thank you for everything. You saved my daughter's life. Emma saved herself, Jennifer said. She did the hard work. But you gave her a reason to try, Emma's father added, shaking Maurice's hand. Both of you. Emma looked at Jennifer with serious eyes. Will you still call me? In the mornings? Every single day, Jennifer promised. As long as you need me to. Forever then, Emma said with a small laugh. As they said goodbye and watched Emma leave with her family, Maurice put his arm around his wife's shoulders. You did it, he said quietly. You saved her. We did it, Jennifer corrected. Together. That night, as they lay in bed, Maurice thought about the past few months, the suspicion, the pain, the revelation, the healing. Jen, he said softly, yeah? I'm sorry I ever doubted you. I'm sorry I let fear make me suspicious instead of just trusting the woman I married. Jennifer turned to face him in the darkness. And I'm sorry I shut you out. I was so afraid of being judged for my failure that I forgot you're my partner, not my judge. We both made mistakes, Maurice said, but we found our way back. Stronger than before, Jennifer added. Stronger than before, Maurice agreed. At 4:47 a.m., Jennifer's alarm went off. Maurice woke up beside her, just like he had every morning since discovering the truth. Good morning, he whispered. Good morning, Jennifer replied, reaching for her phone. Together they called Emma, and together they started another day built on trust, love, and the reminder that the strongest marriages aren't those without secrets. They're the ones where secrets are replaced with truth, and suspicion is replaced with support. 6 months passed. Life settled into a new rhythm for Maurice and Jennifer. Every morning at 4:47 a.m., they woke up together for Jennifer's call to Emma. It had become their ritual, a sacred moment before the chaos of the day began. Emma was thriving. She had enrolled in community college art classes. She was seeing a therapist twice a week, and she had started a blog about her recovery journey that was helping other young people struggling with eating disorders. You need to see Emma's latest post, Jennifer said one Saturday morning, scrolling through her phone at breakfast. Maurice leaned over to look. Emma had written about hope, about the phone calls that saved her life, about the nurse who refused to give up on her. She's incredible, Maurice said. Look at how far she's come. I'm so proud of her, Jennifer replied, wiping happy tears from her eyes. That afternoon they drove to Emma's house for lunch. Emma's mother, Maria, had insisted on cooking for them. It's the least we can do, she had said on the phone. When they arrived, Emma greeted them at the door wearing paint-stained jeans and a bright smile. Come in. Mom's been cooking all morning. The house smelled amazing. Rice, beans, plantains, and chicken. Emma's younger brother, Miguel, was setting the table. Jennifer, Maurice. Maria rushed from the kitchen and hugged them both. Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting us, Maurice said. During lunch, Emma's father, Carlos, told stories about Emma's childhood, about how she used to paint on any surface she could find. Walls, newspapers, even her school uniform once. I should have known she'd become an artist, Carlos laughed. She couldn't help creating beauty everywhere she went. Emma blushed. Dad, stop. It's true, Miguel added, his mouth full of rice. You once painted our dog green because you said he looked too boring. Everyone laughed. Maurice watched Jennifer's face light up with joy. This was what she had fought for. This laughter, this normalcy, this family healing together. After lunch, Emma pulled Jennifer and Maurice aside. I have something to show you. She led them to what used to be a storage room. Now it was a small art studio. Paintings covered the walls. Sunrises, forests, portraits, abstract pieces bursting with color. This is amazing, Maurice said, walking around the room. I've been painting every day, Emma explained. Dr. Rahman said having a creative outlet helps with my recovery, and she was right. When I paint, the dark thoughts go quiet. Jennifer stood in front of a particular painting. It showed a woman standing on a cliff at sunrise, her arms spread wide, face turned toward the light. That's you, Emma said softly, coming to stand beside Jennifer. That's how I see you, bringing light into darkness. Jennifer couldn't speak. She just hugged Emma tight. I'm applying to art school, Emma announced. Portland Institute of Art. It's always been my dream. You'll get in, Maurice said confidently. Your work is incredible. I need to submit a portfolio by next month, Emma said nervously. I've been working on it, but I'm scared it's not good enough. It's more than good enough, Jennifer assured her. But if you want, Maurice and I can help you select your best pieces. Really? Emma's eyes brightened. Really, Maurice confirmed. They spent the next hour going through Emma's paintings, discussing composition, color, emotion. Maurice was surprised by how naturally this felt, how invested he had become in Emma's success. She wasn't just Jennifer's patient anymore. She had become like family. As they were leaving, Maria pulled Jennifer aside. I need to tell you something, she said quietly. What is it? When Emma first got sick, I blamed myself, Maria said, tears filling her eyes. I kept asking what I did wrong as a mother. Why couldn't I protect her? Why couldn't I fix her? Jennifer took Maria's hand. None of this was your fault. I know that now, Maria said, but back then I was drowning in guilt. And then you came into our lives. You showed me that sometimes the best thing a mother can do is accept help. You taught me that love isn't about fixing everything. It's about standing beside someone while they heal themselves. You're an amazing mother, Jennifer said. Emma is lucky to have you. And she's lucky to have you, Maria replied. You're her angel. When Maurice and Jennifer got in the car to drive home, they sat in comfortable silence for a while. That was a good day, Maurice said finally. The best, Jennifer agreed. You know what I realized today? Maurice said, glancing at his wife. That morning when I tracked your phone number, I thought I was going to discover something that would destroy our marriage. Instead, I discovered what makes our marriage worth fighting for. What's that? Jennifer asked. Your heart, Maurice said simply. Your capacity to love people who have nothing to give you in return. Your willingness to sacrifice your comfort for someone else's survival. That's who you are, Jen, and I'm sorry I ever doubted it. Jennifer reached over and squeezed his hand. These past few months have changed me too. I realized I was so afraid of appearing weak or failing that I shut out the person who loves me most. I won't make that mistake again. Good, Maurice said, because I want to be part of everything. The struggles, the victories, the 4:47 a.m. phone calls, all of it. 2 weeks later, Emma called them with news. I got into Portland Institute of Art. Jennifer screamed with joy. Maurice heard the excitement through the phone and started laughing. Congratulations, Emma, Jennifer said. I knew you would. I couldn't have done it without you two, Emma said, her voice shaking with emotion. My acceptance letter literally said my portfolio showed raw emotional depth and authentic vulnerability. That's because you helped me find myself again. When do classes start? Maurice asked. Next fall, but there's one problem. What problem? I don't have enough money for tuition and housing, Emma said quietly. My parents are already stretching to help me, but it's expensive. I might have to defer for a year and work. Jennifer and Maurice looked at each other. Emma, Maurice said, let us worry about that. What? No, I can't ask you to. You're not asking, Jennifer interrupted gently. We're offering. You focus on your art. We'll help with the finances. But you've already done so much. And we'll do more, Maurice said firmly, because that's what family does. Emma went silent on the other end. Then they heard her crying. Thank you so much. After the call ended, Jennifer looked at Maurice. Are you sure about this? Art school isn't cheap. I've never been more sure of anything, Maurice replied. Besides, that downtown project came through. We got a substantial bonus. What better way to spend it than investing in someone's future? Jennifer kissed him. I love you so much. I love you too. The months flew by. Summer arrived. Emma continued to thrive. Her blog had gained a following, and she started speaking at high schools about eating disorder awareness and recovery. One Saturday, Emma invited Maurice and Jennifer to one of her speaking events at a local high school. They sat in the back of the auditorium and watched Emma stand on stage in front of 300 teenagers. 3 years ago, I tried to kill myself, Emma said, her voice clear and strong. I was drowning in my own mind, and I didn't think anyone cared if I lived or died. But there was one person who refused to let me go. A nurse named Jennifer, who promised to call me every single morning at dawn to remind me that I mattered. Maurice watched teenagers lean forward in their seats, completely engaged. For months, I heard her voice every morning, Emma continued. Some days I didn't want to answer. Some days I was angry that she kept calling because it meant I had to face another day. But she never stopped. She never gave up on me. And slowly, those daily calls became something I looked forward to. They became my lifeline. Emma paused, scanning the audience. If you're struggling right now, I want you to know something. You don't have to fight alone. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's courage. And somewhere out there is someone who will answer your call, just like Jennifer answered mine. The auditorium erupted in applause. Several students were crying. Teachers stood up. Emma looked directly at Jennifer in the back row and smiled. After the event, teenagers crowded around Emma, asking questions, sharing their own stories, asking for advice. Maurice and Jennifer watched from a distance. "Look at her," Jennifer whispered. "She's not just surviving anymore. She's living. She's helping others." "You did that," Maurice said. "Your phone calls created this moment." "We did that," Jennifer corrected. "You supported me. You helped me carry this. We saved her together." A young girl, maybe 15 years old, approached them nervously. "Excuse me, are you Jennifer?" Jennifer nodded. "Yes, I am." "Emma talks about you all the time," the girl said. "I just wanted to say thank you. I've been struggling with depression, and hearing Emma's story gave me hope. Knowing that someone cared enough to call her every single day, it made me think maybe I'm worth caring about too." Jennifer knelt down to the girl's eye level. "What's your name?" "Ashley." "Ashley, you are absolutely worth caring about," Jennifer said firmly. "You matter. Your life has value. And if you ever need someone to talk to, I want you to have my number." Jennifer pulled out a card with her phone number and the suicide prevention hotline. "Call me anytime. I mean it." Ashley clutched the card like it was made of gold. "Thank you." As they drove home that evening, Maurice was quiet. "What are you thinking about?" Jennifer asked. "I'm thinking about how close we came to losing all of this," Maurice admitted. "If I had confronted you with anger instead of tracking that phone number, if I had accused you without knowing the truth, if I had let my suspicion destroy our trust, we would have missed out on all of this beauty." "But you didn't," Jennifer said. "You chose to seek truth instead of assuming the worst. And when you found the truth, you chose to support me instead of making it about your hurt feelings." "I'm not that noble," Maurice laughed. "I had plenty of hurt feelings." "I know, but you put them aside when it mattered most. That's love, Maurice. Real love. Not the fairy tale kind that never faces problems, but the kind that fights through problems together." When they got home, Maurice had an idea. "Jen, what if we did more?" "More? Emma's blog reaches thousands of people now. What if we created a foundation? Something to help young people struggling with mental health issues. We could provide resources, therapy funding, crisis support." Jennifer's eyes widened. That's a beautiful idea, but it would require a lot of work, a lot of money." "We have money," Maurice said, "and we have time. We have Emma's story. We have connections. What if we turned your daily phone calls into something bigger, something that could save more lives?" Jennifer sat down slowly, overwhelmed. "You'd really want to do that?" "I don't just want to, I need to," Maurice said passionately. "These past months changed me, Jen. I realized I've been so focused on building buildings that I forgot about building people. Architecture is my job, but this could be my purpose." Tears streamed down Jennifer's face. "When did you become so wise?" "When I married you," Maurice said simply. Over the next few months, they worked tirelessly. Maurice used his business connections to form a nonprofit called Dawn's Light Foundation, named after the early morning calls. Jennifer recruited mental health professionals. Emma became their spokesperson, sharing her story to raise awareness. They hosted their first fundraising gala in September. Over 500 people attended. Emma spoke, sharing her journey from suicidal despair to hopeful recovery. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. "This foundation exists because one person refused to give up on me," Emma said from the podium. "Jennifer called me every morning for over a year. She invested her time, her money, her heart into my healing. And now, through Dawn's Light Foundation, we're going to make sure no young person has to face their darkness alone." The gala raised over $200,000, enough to fund therapy for dozens of teenagers who couldn't afford treatment, enough to create a 24-hour crisis hotline, enough to start making a real difference. As the evening ended, Marcus approached Maurice at the bar. "Man, I can't believe this. A year ago, you were in my office thinking your wife was having an affair. Now you're running a mental health foundation together." Maurice laughed. "Life comes at you fast." "Seriously, though," Marcus said, "I'm proud of you. You could have let suspicion destroy your marriage. Instead, you chose trust. And look what happened." "I almost didn't," Maurice admitted. "I came so close to confronting her with anger, to accusing her without evidence. If I had, I would have destroyed the best thing in my life." "But you didn't," Marcus said. "That's what matters." Later that night, Maurice and Jennifer stood on their back porch, looking at the stars. Charlie the dog slept at their feet. "Can I tell you something?" Jennifer said softly. "Anything. The morning after you showed up at Westlake, I almost gave up on calling Emma." Maurice turned to her, surprised. "Why?" "Because I felt exposed, vulnerable. I thought maybe I was doing too much, caring too much. I thought maybe you were right to be suspicious because who wakes up at 4:47 a.m. to call someone who isn't family?" "But you kept calling," Maurice said. "Because you told me I should," Jennifer replied. "You could have asked me to stop. You could have said it was too much, too weird, too complicated. But instead, you woke up with me. You supported me. You made it our mission instead of my burden." "It was never a burden," Maurice said. "It was beautiful." Jennifer leaned her head on his shoulder. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't tracked that phone number? If you had just confronted me or filed for divorce?" "All the time," Maurice admitted, "and it terrifies me. Emma might not have made it. You and I would have destroyed our marriage over a misunderstanding. The foundation wouldn't exist. Hundreds of kids wouldn't get the help they need." "Everything changed because you chose truth over assumption," Jennifer said. "And you chose vulnerability over secrets," Maurice added. "We both had to change." The next morning at 4:47 a.m., Jennifer's alarm went off, but she didn't reach for her phone. Instead, she rolled over and smiled at Maurice. "What?" he asked. "Emma called me yesterday," Jennifer said. "She said she doesn't need the morning calls anymore. She's ready to stand on her own." Maurice sat up. "How do you feel about that?" "Proud," Jennifer said. "So incredibly proud. The goal was never for her to need me forever. It was to get her strong enough to fly on her own." "She's definitely flying now," Maurice agreed. "But she did ask me something," Jennifer continued. "What?" "She asked if I would consider calling other people. Young people who reach out to the foundation. People who need a voice in the darkness, just like she did." Maurice smiled. "What did you say?" "I said yes, but only if you keep waking up with me." "Always," Maurice promised. And so, life continued. Jennifer still woke up at 4:47 a.m., but now she called different people. Young men and women struggling with depression, anxiety, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts. Each one received the same gift Emma had received, a daily reminder that they mattered, that someone cared, that they weren't alone. Maurice supported her every step of the way. He expanded the foundation, recruited volunteers, secured funding. His downtown architectural project became famous, but he always said his real masterpiece was Dawn's Light Foundation. Emma graduated from Portland Institute of Art with honors. Her senior art show featured a collection called Dawn, inspired by those early morning phone calls. The centerpiece was a massive painting of a sunrise breaking through storm clouds, with hundreds of tiny human figures holding hands across the canvas. It represents everyone who's ever felt alone in their darkness, Emma explained at the gallery opening, and the people who reached into that darkness to pull them toward light. The painting sold for $50,000. Emma donated every penny to Dawn's Light Foundation. On their 15th wedding anniversary, Maurice surprised Jennifer with a trip to Hawaii. On their first evening, they sat on the beach watching the sunrise. "Do you remember 3 years ago?" Maurice asked. "When I was lying awake every morning, convinced you were betraying me?" "I remember," Jennifer said. "I was so wrong," Maurice said. "You weren't betraying me. You were showing me what true love looks like. Love that sacrifices, love that serves, love that refuses to give up." "I learned from you too," Jennifer said. "You taught me that vulnerability isn't weakness, that letting people in, especially the people who love you, makes you stronger, not weaker." "We've come so far," Maurice mused. "We have," Jennifer agreed. "From suspicion to trust, from secrets to transparency, from two people living parallel lives to partners fighting for the same purpose." Maurice pulled her close. "If I could go back to that morning when I first heard you making a call, knowing everything I know now, I wouldn't change a thing." "Not even the pain?" Jennifer asked. "Not even the pain," Maurice confirmed. "Because the pain taught us what we were missing. It forced us to confront our weaknesses, and it led us here." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun climb higher, painting the sky in brilliant colors. "Thank you," Jennifer said softly. "For what?" "For not giving up on us. For choosing truth. For supporting my crazy mission to call strangers every morning. For building a foundation with me. For waking up at 4:47 a.m. even though you don't have to." Maurice kissed her forehead. "Thank you for being someone worth waking up for." Years later, Dawn's Light Foundation had helped over 5,000 young people. Emma had become a renowned artist and mental health advocate. She married a kind man named Thomas and named her first daughter Jennifer. Maurice and Jennifer continued their work, expanding the foundation nationally. But every morning, Jennifer still woke up at 4:47 a.m. And every morning, Maurice woke up with her. "Who are we calling today?" he would ask. And Jennifer would tell him about the young person on the other end of the line, their struggles, their hopes, their fears. Then together, they would make the call. A simple conversation, a reminder that someone cared, a lifeline in the darkness, because they had learned something valuable through their own darkness. The strongest relationships aren't built on perfection. They're built on choosing truth over assumption, trust over suspicion, and love over fear. Every single morning at dawn,